Hello, YouTube. Good morning. Pretty myself up. The topic today, that's what I wanted. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really put this into proper words or not, but I'm going to give it a shot. The reason that I want you to understand the flat earth is so that you understand the universe where you live. Because then you understand how the energy of where we live works and how everything comes together. I think it was Stevie Nicks, maybe. Cher. Words are like weapons. We use them sometimes. I'm sure she knew how true that was, being a witch, because she is a witch as well. The book of when you think that you're the result of an explosion just flying through space on a fucking ball at random, how can you be magic at the same time? Right? So, and how are you supposed to understand that magic? And how's the universe and that magic supposed to understand you as your language changes over and over and over, right? There's another language. There's something smarter. There's something more intelligent than us, than any of it. More intelligent than everything that's in this universe, in the dome. And can do things that we don't understand. Have you ever had your life just spared? I have. I know a ton of people with testimony of that they should be dead. You know? Should have died. Fell asleep at the wheel or whatever, and made it 50 miles sleeping, and then wake up at the exit that's my exit and look over at my driver and be like, "There's our exit, man, you made it," and him be like, "Huh?" and wake up too, because we were both sleeping for miles. Jump on our exit and fucking get off the highway. Bunch of times, really. Not like that, but a few times just drinking, that there was no way we should have made it all the way we did or whatever. Just some hand on you. All kinds of situations like that are just unexplainable. But they're easily explainable when you're in the flat universe. You got fucking angels and God. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. It's all fucking makes perfect fucking sense. Now I need to figure out what God wants from me, because he spared me for a reason. He didn't save my fucking life so that I could drink and party and have sex with as many people as possible. That wasn't his purpose. right? So when now I have all new goals, right? As a person on earth. And even if you haven't been spared that way, like in particularly by the actual hand of God or an angel coming down and saving you, maybe you've had something else fucking happen to you that you can't explain. Like I had a dream one night about this aunt that I never fucking talked to. Never liked her. She was the only religious person in my family and total black sheep like I am now. And I was little making memories of her and fucking always made bad memories of her because she was the downer, the stick in the mud. She was never fun. Why aren't you just drinking and partying and having fun like everybody else? Why are you taking away my uncle and all that stuff, right? And but anyway, the night she died, I had this huge fucking dream about her, just a conversation with her, and it was a wonderful conversation about her family and stuff, and just her telling me things. It wasn't a conversation. It was this beautiful message that she had for her family. And then I woke up or whatever, and then I found out that she had died. I didn't know she was dead until, so I hadn't talked to her or spoke to her, nothing for years. I was actually living out of the city and everything at the time. I was in college, and I was gone away. I came home for the summer. But I had just found God while I was up there. I was just kind of trying to figure things out with the whole young earth thing, all that science, and I was like, wow, or God found me, really. And I was like, wow, man, this is fucking fascinating fucking shit. I don't understand. And I was trying to work it out in my head, but I was still together with my ex, and partying was our thing, and whatever. Anyways, it was another miracle in my life. And I've had a few myself. Now, and then I've talked to people that have had huge ones, like fucking their testimony is just like, wow, man, you lived through that, you know what I mean? You rolled that car or fucking, through an explosion or some fucking thing and lived. Like the hand of God was on you, Something unexplainable at the very fucking least. And I'll tell you, what's unexplainable is always explainable. God bless him. Hallelujah. Thank him. Anyway, so all this to say that there's definitely more than you see. It's more than just a fucking explosion. And then once you figure all that out, that it's more than an explosion, and that all this fucking magic and shit is in this universe, and then you find out that there's actually ways of using it. There's knowledge that can be discovered in this world to totally change your life. And most of it can be done with the tiniest little things. And but you can also go overboard with any of it. So I could cast spells on you by saying things like, you're a wonderful person. That's a spell. If I said that to you all the time, every day, you're a wonderful person. You brighten up people's day. You brighten up the energy around you. Every time you walk into a room, everybody's mood is changed by your presence. And you're a wonderful person. And if I said that to you all the time, even just saying that to you now, And I do mean that for the people who understand this, because you are a wonderful person. You do have that power. Your energy spreads into a room and you bring it in. That's why people want to be around you, because they want to thrive off of that energy. You're going to become a more wonderful person knowing that, feeling that, thinking that all the time, right? It's a beautiful thing to say to your wife. It could save your relationship if you say things like that. Positive energy and the positive words. Words are so fucking powerful. Words are like weapons, right? So use them properly. You can use a weapon to kill, but you could use the same weapon to harvest a field and feed people. Right? So the opposite of that is also true, where if I say something subtly negative to you all the time, that is going to become your energy, and you're going to feel that all the time, especially if it's a constant of this negativity of some kind of thing that shouldn't be said, kind of whatever. So understanding breeds understanding. As we learn to see the world for what it truly is, in the universe and the stars, like I've said in previous videos, go grab a pair of cheap binoculars in the summertime when there's some kind of equinox, whatever, going on, where a planet's close to the Earth and you can really see it in the night sky. Well, put the binoculars on it and actually have a look at it. Rest your elbows right on something, get really stable, and have a look at the planets. See things for yourself. Go to the ocean. 8 inches per mile squared is a lot of curvature, right? And when you look at an oil tanker that's like the size of a football field, and it's on the coast coming into the port or whatever, they can look like they're this big out there on going across the coast. That thing's the size of a fucking football field. Length. Width is maybe half a field or 3/4, but it's pretty fucking close going by, and it looks like it's a toy, a miniature toy, like a small toy that you'd play with in the bathtub. So how much curvature should you be seeing across that horizon? It's a ton. That should be like this on the ocean, in order for you to be on a ball flying through space like a fucking maniac, and nobody at the wheel. Just whatever. The fucking sun's flying through space, the Earth's spinning around the sun, the moon's spinning around the Earth, but we can easily calculate and shoot a rocket and hit the moon every time. No worries. Gotcha. just the thought of that is 666,000 miles a second or something like that, miles per hour. 666,000 miles per hour, or 100,000, 600, something like that. It's a fucking huge number, and it's all sixes, of course. That the sun's moving, but it doesn't have a tail. It's a big fireball shooting through space, but there's no tail to it. If you were to take a pop can and put it into a vacuum and suck the air out of like a solid chamber, right? The pop can is going to explode, repressurize to the thing, right? And spread evenly throughout the box, or whatever the containment field is. And then, so if you were to take a rocket ship and shoot it into space, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think the actual demonstrable science of that is going to be? This ain't going to be good. The ship would explode, and then the astronauts in their little suits would also explode and be evenly distributed throughout space. The molecules would be evenly distributed throughout the entire universe. So if you actually made it with a rocket into space, you would get to see the whole universe. You'd be everywhere at once. You'd be omnipotent. Little pieces of you fucking everywhere. Almost immediately everywhere. Like you'd be spread out like a... It's a horrible, sick, twisted thing to do. But if you were to put an animal into a vacuum, I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it to a lab rat. But I would do it to the guy at NASA that said that the bowling ball and the feather didn't move at all, but the Earth moved to them. At NASA, that fucking douchebag. I'd love to... We'll put him in an astronaut suit and give him a fighting chance. Kick him into that vacuum at NASA. Set up his bowling ball and his feather. Suck all the air out of the atmosphere. Drop the bowling ball and the feather simultaneously. Watch them hit the ground. But by then he'd be splatter all throughout the whole room. Just like the pop can. You can put flies into a vacuum, and their skeletal mass is on the outside, and their tissues are protected from being torn apart. The flies cannot fly, though. They can walk on the walls still. When you tap the wall and they try to fly away, they just fall. Because there's no air for them to swim in. Because that's what flies do, or birds do, or even planes do. So shooting a rocket into space, as soon as it got into the vacuum, even if it could hold together somehow, the jet fuel you burn wouldn't have anything to push against until you filled the entire atmosphere with jet fuel exhaust enough to have something, have molecules enough to compress all those molecules and push against them and put the heat there between you to give you thrust. That's how it works. When you take away the air, you cannot achieve thrust until the chamber was to fill with new air of some sort. All this to say, your words can be like weapons, and you can infiltrate people's lives and affect them very negatively or very positively when you choose your words correctly. Especially people that you're closest to or whatever. Those people you want to encourage everything in their lives and bring positivity. And when they say negative things about themselves or their lives or their whatever, their situations, you want to correct that and put a positive twist to it of some sort. A lot of times it's faith in God. Once you know He's right there watching, you hand everything over to Him, change the way you live. You don't have to change the way you live. He'll change the way you live. Effortlessly, all of a sudden, you will change. And then you'll look back and say, wow. Like that meme. I saw a meme of this fucking person having like a breakdown or whatever. And the meme said, how I deal with my problems. And the person was like laying in bed or head down on the table, sleeping and fucking doing like depressing things. And I realized that's how I used to deal with my problem. And I didn't even remember that I don't do that anymore or whatever. I never would have realized that change of myself if I hadn't have seen that meme. I never would have noticed that that would be the last thing I'd ever fucking do now with a problem in my face. Right? I go to God. I get on my knees and I pray about it and quickly get answers. Very quickly, most cases. And if I don't, then I pray about it more. Again and again. Until I do. There's all kinds of stuff in the Jewish writings about that. About how a lot of times there's angels that have to deliver your prayer or have to, your prayer has to get through layers of heaven, and in order to get through the layers, there's things that can stop it. So the angels need to protect it, and sometimes if they get into a fight with something like Satan that really wants to stop your prayer from getting to God, it can take a while. So you got to keep praying and wear them down. Eventually it'll get through. That's the way they explained it. Now, it's only man's understanding of it. But we have a very good understanding nowadays, I guess. Because, excuse me. Well, not because of anything. We just have better understanding. With all our science shit, you guys, unfortunately, do not have better understanding. Some of you. Very, very low level understanding of what the world is. shame. Because you could change not just your life by saying your I ams, but you could change your whole family's lives by speaking positive reinforcement into their lives. By just saying good things about them. So, and or telling them to have faith in adversity, in extreme adversity. Say, well, this is the kind of situation where only God. Just keep walking forward. As you come up to the wall, he'll knock it down. But you got to walk up to the wall. Don't crumble, don't fall. If anything, go to your knees. Talk to God. Get back up. Walk into the wall. He'll knock it down. Guaranteed. If you have that kind of faith, that you know he's going to, he's going to. And that's why these self-motivators kind of work. Because they're teaching you spells, but they're not teaching you how the spells work. They're just teaching you to do spells. It's like, oh, use these spells. Say these things about yourself. Right? Positive things. Look in the mirror every morning and say, I'm beautiful and I'm this and I'm that, whatever. Well, that's saying your I ams. Right? That's all God. That's God's power that they're manipulating to their means to get you to give them money. Right? Witches, same thing. They're just going way in to a certain root of God's power. Right? Where they're mixing together spells and things, right? Well, I mix together spells and alchemy. Right? I mix together like aloe vera and coconut oils and fucking and mix it with marijuana essence and fucking and make healing body lotions and fucking things of that nature. Cook down butters, and I do the same thing with the butters and make healing or getting high. But it's only made me closer to God. And all of the people that I know who are waking up and who are understanding this are also mostly potheads. And so something that you got to have control over. Don't let it have control over you, because that's bad. But I mean, I don't think that it's like a sin. It's not spoken of as being a sin. Not like alcohol. Alcohol is specifically mentioned in the Bible. Do not touch wine once it ferments. Word for word, right like that. Anyway, have a wonderful, blessed, beautiful day, YouTubers. You wonderful, happy souls with your happy lives. Remain smiling. See yas.